Happy New Year, everyone! Today we'll be making the Kakuni don, a pork belly rice bowl filled with umami, a Japanese word for a rich, savory taste. When I ran my ramen joint back in Tokyo, I made a very simplified version of this dish. Even then, it was by far my best-selling side dish, with several customers just coming into the store to eat it instead of my ramen. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but it is what it is. But today I'm excited to show you guys the better version, the way I wanted to make it originally, without the constraints of operating within a fast casual ramen restaurant. So let's get started. We'll be using a pound of pork belly, enough for at least 2 servings. Cut vertically along the middle to get 2 large pieces. Place the meat into a pot, pour some water, turn the heat on, and bring it to a boil. This process cleans up the meat. Now dump the hot water and thoroughly rinse out the meat with cold water. Place the clean meat back into the empty pot. Pour some water again to cover the entire meat. Prepare 1 block of clean unpeeled ginger and cut them up into thin slices. Then dump it into the pot. Get 1 block worth of green onions and tear off the green part into the pot. Then turn the heat on to bring it to a boil. Lower the heat and let it simmer for 90 minutes. The ginger and the green onions eliminates that unpleasant scent that pork tend to have. I know that it's a very time-consuming process, but it really makes a huge difference in the final outcome. While we wait, let's prepare the marinade ingredients. We'll first create a simple dashi broth that really adds a lot of umami to our meal. Get 15 grams of bonito flakes, then pour about 1 liter of water into a pot. Bring it to a light boil, then pour our bonito flakes in. Then let it simmer for about 3 minutes. Then filter out our bonito flakes. And now we have our dashi broth. Now cut an onion into a quarter, then use your hands to tear it up into little pieces. Then get 150 milliliters of sake, 75 milliliters of mirin, 40 milliliters of soy sauce, 10 milliliters of corn syrup, and 30 grams of brown sugar. After 90 minutes have passed, take out the pork onto a tray and make sure the pork is clear of our ginger and green onions. Pour out the broth, then place the pork back into our now empty pot. Then pour our dashi broth and our teared up onions, then the rest of our ingredients from before in an orderly fashion. All set. Stir everything up so that everything is evenly distributed. Then bring it to a boil. Then lower the heat and let it simmer for 90 minutes again. It helps to cover it with kitchen paper so that the top side is also exposed to the sauce. Meanwhile, we'll cook these 2 eggs to get that perfect level of gooiness that we Japanese call hanjuku. Bring a pot of water to a boil. So much boiling in this dish. Adding a little bit of vinegar prevents the eggs from leaking, even if they crack up a little bit. So pour some into the pot, then gently place the eggs into the pot and boil for 6 minutes. Then place them into a bowl of iced water to prevent overcooking and let them chill out for a couple of minutes. Then gently peel off the shell and put it aside for now. 90 minutes have passed, so let's check up on the pork. Looking good. Then place the pork gently into a container. Be careful as it can easily break apart at this point. Then pour the sauce into the container as well as our eggs. Tightly seal the container, then put it inside a fridge and let it marinate overnight. Let's check it out. Looks so flavorful. The egg looks great too. Take out 1 serving of the pork and the egg onto a tray. I'm just gonna cut off this little part and use it for another dish. Set a pan to medium heat and lightly sear both sides of the pork. Wipe off any debris from the pan. Then pour in the marinade. Then briefly heat it up to make it into a sauce. Prepare a bowl of rice, then gently place the pork on top of the rice. Cut the egg in half. Ooh, perfect amount of gooiness. Then tastefully place them next to the pork. Sprinkle some optional green onions. Now pour the sauce all over, and finished! Oh my god, it is so good. There's so much flavor in the meat and it's so perfectly balanced with like the fatty part. Now that it's 2022, I want to talk about New Year resolutions. So as you can see, I had some crazy resolutions last year. I'm too embarrassed to read it out loud, but needless to say, I didn't meet most of them. But I'm not that upset because I actually accomplished my biggest resolution, which was to leave Japan and move back to New York City. And I'm happy that I was able to do that just a couple of months ago. ago. I have more realistic resolutions this year, and I'll share some of them to you. My biggest resolution is to keep building this cooking channel. Even if I get nothing tangible out of it, it's just a great creative outlet for me, and it's so different from what I've done in the past. I have countless recipes and ideas that I want to execute once my overall YouTube skills improve. Now is a good time to ask you guys to please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Another resolution is to maintain abs all year round. I think I mentioned in my first video that I used to be quite fat. Nothing wrong with being fat, but I just was like 40-50 pounds heavier than I am now, just like two and a half years ago. I'm happy that I lost the weight, and so far I have been able to maintain it. So I just want to keep that going. And finally, date more. Ever since I moved back to New York City back in September, I've hardly dated. And honestly, I haven't really tried either. You know, I give myself a solid soft 6 maybe, but 10 in personality, of course, which should be enough for this city, I think. Gonna take the last bite of the meat here. I'm gonna go work on my online dating profile, so until next time, bye.